Greetings and welcome to Pickled Watermelon Rinds, a guilty pleasure podcast featuring Antie Joan and Ontie, providing our zesty and marginally mature take on current events, pop culture, and trends. Now we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Well, hello, Auntie Joan.
Hi, Auntie. How you doing?
I'm doing great because I have gates.
Gates.
I have gates on my deck as of today.
Yay!
Yes, exactly. And the crowd goes wild. Yes,
Mhm.
it's very exciting. They are still working here today, but it's not super noisy. But if folks hear anything on the recording, well, get over it because I wasn't going to change anything. I wasn't going to change recording time, and I wasn't going to change these guys coming because I really needed these gates in. And now I have them. And while we were away real quick earlier, my contractor called and said that he's going to come by at 6 o'clock tonight to do the final walkthrough.
Oh.
Yes, very exciting. There's already things on the list, but I just have to see from whatever they did today if there's anything additional that needs to get added to the list. But anyway, yes, very exciting stuff.
Oh, that's wonderful to have that almost completed.
Yes.
And mine too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tell everybody.
Well, that poor guy was here from like 9 in the morning till 9 at night.
Not poor
finishing up.
guy. I guess he should have showed up when he was supposed to.
Well, I should have been told also
Right.
that he wasn't coming. So that's
right, because he said either the day before or the actual day he arrived.
Yeah, the guy that did the work isn't the one that screwed up as far as communication goes.
Right.
This, yeah. So continue.
It's all exciting. All exciting news.
So Mr. K can go out and roam freely.
Yes, that is the most exciting part about this. Now that I have gates, poor beast has had to stay inside for weeks now. And I've only gone out really once to hang out with Killian staying inside because it was just too hard to. I didn't have anything in front of the staircases, so he could. Not that he's itching to get out. It's just if an animal happens to roam through the property while he's out there, I can't guarantee he's going to listen to me and not just go try and chase something. So anyway.
A bear could run up on the deck too if he's out there. So without the gates. So
they can run.
Well, I guess they could
do
climb
it anyway.
over. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but because I have a false sense of security with those gates as well for that exact reason. I was like, it helps to keep the animals out. It's like, no, any animal we're chatting about, except for a moose, because they're just too lanky and getting up the stairs and stuff would be too difficult for them. But otherwise, I mean, they could walk over the gate for sure, but they'd have to walk upstairs, and they're not going to bother with that.
No. There's nothing up there for them.
No.
Except maybe a basil plant, but
no, that's even been inside because well, it's been way too rainy too. It doesn't need that much water. But so far today's still sun shining, and like I said, they're finishing up hopefully they are finishing up the retaining wall because I said he's coming here at 6 o'clock to do the final walkthrough. So I'm very excited to have that part of the project complete, but the siding's going to be about 2 weeks out before they can start. So sad. I'm really looking forward to seeing it all done.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's going to look gorgeous once you get that siding and the colors.
Can't wait. I just really can't wait. It's very
I'm looking forward to coming up for a family get together.
That's right. Yes, July 5th. The family's coming on up and everybody gets to see all the new stuff.
Nice.
Yes. But you organized a wonderful little outing for a few of us. Where did we go, Auntie Joan?
Organized. I found this thing on the internets, and I just sent it out to us and say, hey, to be honest, I didn't think anybody would be interested, honestly. And then all of a sudden, Auntie Mary and Anne, and then you finally were able to pop in and say, yeah, let's do it. We had an opportunity to bottle feed some baby goats.
So cute.
Oh my gosh, I want a goat now.
Then you wouldn't have to have landscapers anymore to mow your lawn.
Oh,
your
that's
goat would mow your
true.
lawn.
Oh, that would be awesome. next door to Otto and Ruth
Mm-hmm.
used to be some people that had 2 goats,
Oh, yeah.
at least 1 goat. And I could hear it bang sometimes. I loved it. I loved it.
So cute.
And this woman who had the goats,
Mm-hmm.
said that they were her service animal. She was able to keep them in
Okay.
her backyard because they were declared service animals. So,
Oh, gotcha. Usually need an acre for those kinds of acre or more, right?
yeah, I
Isn't
don't
that
know.
the
I
rule?
don't know. I don't know.
That was always what my parents told me growing up, that if you had an
Oh,
acre,
there you
you had more
go.
than an acre. Because I always wanted a horse, which of course
Me
they were
too.
never getting me a horse. But they said you had to have more than an acre, and our property was just an acre.
See,
So,
I always wanted a horse
hmm
too. And
hmm
then finally, when I was between 8th grade and my freshman year in high school, we moved to this new subdivision. And my
hmm
mother would call it like, well, we're moving out, we're out in the country now. And I said, we're in the country. So when I get to have a horse? And she said, no, 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 no. Because it was a subdivision. It was,
yeah,
yeah. So,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Two
But
people in
anyway,
our neighborhood did have horses. Well, one was
sure.
more of a pony, and another person had a horse, but they had just slightly had like a acre and a quarter.
Mm.
So supposedly that was the rule. I don't know. I think she was just lying to me because she didn't want to buy me a horse.
Could be. Because they knew what was involved with it,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah. Oof.
But this place where they have the baby goats, there it's called Growing Gardens, and it's a whole big bunch of land in northern Boulder. Well, it's by Broadway and Iris, if you know anything about Boulder. But there used to be acres of irises growing there. It was like one of the big things in Boulder. And people come at certain times of the year and you could dig out your own iris and they'd have all different varieties. And I used to love driving by there just to see when the irises were blooming. But anyway, this Growing Gardens, I don't remember exactly what the guy said, but they took it over.
Mhm.
So they rotate crops now. They still grow iris. You can still come and get them, but then they rotate it with stuff that the goats can eat too.
Yeah.
But I looked it up in preparation for our recording today. Come to find out, and I didn't know this, they have like urban garden plots you can rent. So it's kind of
Oh, like a
like,
community garden kind of thing?
yeah, yeah. So it sounds like it's kind of like, well, I mean, I love my my British shows. They have these allotments where people, rent little plots and they can grow out, grow their own veggies and stuff. So
Hmm.
I guess they have quite a few of them there. I had no idea, but
Hmm.
that's pretty nice. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
they also have, when we were trying to get out of there,
Hmm.
and we ended up going to another part of that whole thing. They sell veggies and plants and stuff like that in the early spring, and then they also, I guess, sell grown produce too. So
Oh, so
yeah,
like a little farm stand.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's a
cool.
pretty neat little place. And those goats, I just love those little baby goats. They're
Hmm.
just so precious. And they loved my oxygen tubing too.
Oh, they sure did. I thought for sure Auntie Joan was going to have her oxygen punctured. Oh,
Yeah,
yes. They
yeah.
really
And
loved Auntie Joan. She sat down on a stump, a
yeah,
high stump, and they, like three of them,
yeah,
like
yeah.
crawling all over. It
Hmm.
was very
Hmm.
cute.
I
Very
think,
cute.
yeah, I just violated their space, that's all. And they wanted to
No, I think they
let,
just
yeah,
liked
they
you
liked me.
you were on their level. They like that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah. So then after that, we headed south and had lunch. Now, I will say the bread that was on this that they used for the sandwich at the bread works was very, very good.
Agreed.
And then we went and had a sweet cow ice
Oh, I'm
cream.
not done with Breadworks yet.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Hold the phone. Sorry, that was too short for the how aggravated I was there.
You were aggravated, really?
So this place, folks, is ginormous. I had
It
no
is.
idea. I'd never been
I-
inside there before. And they have it all set up like cafeteria style. Supposedly have all these stations you can go to. There's a salad station, there's a sandwich station, there's where they make you salads and make you sandwiches. And then there's a pizza station, and then there's a soup station and all this wonderful stuff. Now keep in mind the hour we got there. This is Sunday, right before noon. So prime lunchtime, right? We get there. Auntie Mary had gone up because she wanted pizza. And they said, oh, we're still prepping the pizzas. Give us 10 minutes. And Auntie Mary said, fine. She went and got some water and sat down, and she was content for 10 minutes. The rest of us went over to the prepared sandwiches area, and they have vegan and vegetarian sandwiches for me. One of each, one vegetarian, one vegan, completely empty for the pre-made sandwiches. And I said, oh, well, just go get one made. No big deal. So I walk over and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting, and nobody's coming over. Then finally somebody recognizes that I'm standing there and comes over, and he says, how can I help you? I said, oh, I wanted to get the grilled eggplant and roasted vegetable sandwich, but without whatever the non-vegan stuff was. I forget, it must have been like some kind of feta cheese or something on it, and maybe pesto. I don't remember, honestly. And he said, oh, I can't make you that. And I said, oh, okay. Why? He said, I can only make you what's on this reusable menu thing. And you get to pick your bread, your protein, your vegetables. And then if you want, like, I'm assuming like mustard or something on it, whatever, condiments. So I look and I said, oh, because hummus was on the list. So I said, oh, can I get the hummus and roasted pepper sandwich then? Because that was the vegan offering in the pre-made sandwiches, as there were none. Again, keep in mind the hour. At prime lunchtime, they're already out of these sandwiches. Okay? So I said, can I get the hummus and roasted red pepper? No, I can't do the roasted red pepper. I can do the hummus. And I said, okay. And I said, okay, well then I would like on marble rye. Oh, we don't have marble rye. And I stopped. Took a breath.
I was there and witnessed this, folks.
I stopped.
It's true.
I took a breath and I said, why don't you tell me what you do have? Because I'm starting to get really aggravated. And he said, well, I have what's on this list. I'm like, no, actually you don't, because you know what's the first thing on this list? Marble rye. And I just asked you for that and you said you don't have any. And he said, oh, yeah. I said, So I picked some other bread. I got the hummus. I got whatever vegetables that were available. And that was it. Put my order in. We walk away. I go back to the table. Now Auntie Mary's up and she went back to her get the pizza. And the woman still says that they're still not ready for her. And she's like, well, screw this. I'm going to get a pre-made sandwich.
I was wondering what happened with that.
So she came over to get a pre-made sandwich as well. What she really wanted was a salad. But after she saw my fiasco with the sandwich, she didn't want to. Well, she didn't see the pre-made salads, which there were, and I didn't even look at those because that's not what I wanted. I'm at Breadworks, I'm having bread. She wanted a salad, she just didn't see them. But I also, they could have made you a salad. She's like, after what happened with you, there was no way I was going to attempt that. But as Antie Joan said, once I did get my sandwich, the bread was spectacular.
Yeah, it was good.
Spectacular. Nice and soft, but it had a nice crust to it.
What bread did you get?
I don't even honestly remember because I was too pissed off to even pay attention. I'm just shocked that a place that size.
Yeah.
That's Boulder real estate. Boulder is not cheap on rents. And the size of that place, and to have such slim pickings, I mean, more so for me than for the rest, but still, and not have your pizzas ready for lunchtime or getting your whatever you had to prep for the pizzas ready in time for the lunch crowd, in quotes, because it wasn't that crowded. It's shocking to me.
Yeah.
Like who's ever managing that store needs to be replaced, or they need to replace the workers. I don't know where the screw up is, but it was, in my opinion, a pretty significant screw up for a beautiful day, Sunday afternoon, with an ice cream place 2 doors down, and these guys aren't ready to do their lunch crowd.
And 2 doors down the other way is Moe's Bagel, which probably we should have gone and got a sandwich from there. But then next to them was KT's, the barbecue joint. So, the whole layout of that place was confusing.
Yes.
I mean, I mean, it like you say, it's huge, and maybe it did used to be the ideal market. I bet it did back years ago, but
Maybe.
or wait, that's across the street.
That's
That's where
across
you
the
went, isn't
street.
it? Yeah. Like you say, it's huge, and all these tables up front, and then where do you go? You've got a pay station right up front.
Right.
Where do I get the food?
Exactly. And if on the other end of the, once you get through the whole, all those different stations, there is another register set up, but doesn't look like they're using it. So I'm
Yeah,
guessing that their primary business is more the bakery items right up front,
yeah,
getting a coffee,
yeah.
getting a pastry, getting some bread and all that. And all those stations that we were there for the lunchtime is a total secondary thing because it makes no sense otherwise, like you said, because you can go up to that counter and and order a coffee, and the
Hmm.
pastries are like over to the left of that, so I'm guessing that's their bigger side of the
Is
business.
is that where you ordered the coffee up front?
Yes.
Because the drinks are
Oh,
way
I
in the
never even saw the
back.
drinks. That's why
Oh,
that's why I got an iced coffee, because I wasn't going back. I had already had my stupid little ticket, my encounter with that gentleman, for lack of better terms. And I was not going because I was like, oh, I don't want to get annoyed any more than I already am. So I saw that they had coffee. I'm like, got iced coffee? She said, yes. I'm like, got oat milk? She said, yes. I'm like, iced latte, please, with oat milk. That'll do. That's the only reason I got that. I wouldn't have gotten a coffee at that hour, but I was like, not going back.
yeah. I think I was just hungry at the time, and I was more focused on my own self and the sandwich. And of course, I did have a conversation going on with another member of our group, but
Yes.
so I missed out on a lot of that discussion. You're right. It's at that time of day. They should have had stuff out ready
Right.
for people to
If
stop
this
by.
was 2:30, 3 o'clock, totally, I would understand it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
At noon, you don't have
yeah.
any of this shit going? No. Then don't be open for lunch. If your primary business is the breads and the pastries and the coffees, then don't open for lunch because clearly you're not set up for it. Or
Yeah,
you are
yeah.
set up for it, you haven't organized your team to actually
Mhm,
make
mhm.
a good lunchtime experience for people.
Yeah,
But
they
it's
hadn't no pizza stuff ready or
no, it wasn't long after Auntie Mary got her pre-made sandwich that she sat down, and I want to say maybe 5, 10 minutes later, a guy table over from us had a pizza.
oh my
And
gosh.
I'm just like, so you guys really couldn't take her order, but this guy came in 5 minutes later and magically has a pizza.
Wow.
I did not point that out to Auntie Mary. So if you're listening, Auntie Mary, I purposely did not tell you what was happening at the table next to us because I did not want you to get as aggravated as I was there.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry, little diversion onto the breadworks. This was not on our agenda today, folks, at all, but I could not. I haven't written my review of them yet, so I had to get it off my chest.
Oh, you
That's
haven't
why.
done that yet. I thought you were
No.
gonna type it on your phone
I
once you got
was
back to my
typing it on
house.
Monday when I was at your house,
Oh.
but then we decided to do other things. So that's why I
Oh
got
yeah, we did,
distracted.
didn't we?
I got distracted, so I was like, that's fine. But
So
yes.
then after that fiasco, then we go to Sweet Cow.
Mm-hmm.
And how was your ice cream?
It's hard to judge my ice cream because that's the first time I've been to Sweet Cow to get vegan ice cream. The
Oh, I
last
thought you.
I hadn't
Oh,
been to Sweet Cow since I've been vegan. No. But before
oh.
I was vegan, I really loved Sweet Cow. But it definitely had, so they probably used coconut milk or coconut cream. So I had even though it was cookies and cream, so it should have just
Hmm.
been Oreos and like a vanilla-esque ice cream. Definitely had a coconut, which I don't mind. I like coconut, so it wasn't bad. But oddly enough, the flavor of which I know you guys had similar issues with, the flavor of the Oreos or whatever kind of sandwich cookie they used in the cookies and cream wasn't strong.
Hmm.
Like, I was tasting more of the coconut, and then there was like this back flavor of the Oreos, which was interesting because any other time I've ever had
Hmm.
cookies and cream ice cream, the cookie is the predominant flavor.
Auntie Mary and I had the malted milk ball ice cream, and it was very creamy, but yeah, there was not much flavor of the malted milk. So that was kind of sad. And I even got a pint of it to bring home. When I first went into it, I do have malt powder at home.
Hmm.
I'm almost out of it, but I do have some malt powder at home. And I sprinkled some of that on, and that helped a little bit. But then I didn't put it on the next time I I had some, but they were very the help there was pretty good. I
Yes.
thought, yeah, very
Yes.
polite and
Yes. Yeah, I
yeah.
thought those girls did a nice job. But yeah, I was disappointed because I really spoke highly of Sweet Cow. So I was kind of disappointed that you guys had some tasteless stuff. And mine wasn't, like I said, as tasty as I thought it could have been. But I also always chalk it up to, well, they've got like one vegan flavor, so I should shut up and just be happy
Mhm.
that I got something vegan.
It's I've seen it, like the best in Boulder.
I never
You
knew
know,
that location existed. How long has that
I
been
didn't
there?
either. I don't know. I don't know.
Because the one that I used to go to is over in Old Town Louisville.
Yeah, yeah, I know where that is. Yeah.
That's the one I've been to before
Huh.
before I was vegan, and it was always freaking delicious. And Auntie Bethy would bring anybody who came in from out of town. She would take them to Sweet Cow.
Mm,
There was a pizza place right next to it too, so they would do pizza and then go get Sweet Cow as like a an outing.
mm, mm.
But at least I'm glad that it was at least creamy. So
Oh,
they
very
do have a
much
good
so.
base.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what's going on with their mix-ins. That's not
And
make
see,
yeah.
I'm not a connoisseur, so DQ is fine for me. I like
Well,
Dairy
that's because
Queen, so
Dairy Queen is delicious. That's, I mean,
yeah, I
it
know.
just
I mean,
is.
some people kind of what do they say?
But DQ is mostly about what you're putting into it, like blizzards and things like that. Where
Oh,
you're
yeah,
putting a
yeah.
bunch of candy and stuff in it that
True,
just is
true. Yeah.
delicious versus just their straight up ice cream. So I've seen people just get like the cones or whatever with their soft serve ice cream. But nah, if you're going to DQ, you get the good stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah, less creamy, and maybe
hmm
that's kind of why I like it. I like the soft serve. Always have.
hmm hmm
So after we did that,
Yes.
feed the babies and then feed ourselves.
That wasn't me farting, folks. That was a drill outside.
I didn't even
If it
hear
came
it.
through if it came through the microphone, just want people to be aware. Sorry, go ahead, Auntie Joan.
So we headed north back to my place, and Auntie Mary and Ann headed south on Broadway.
hmm
And on their way out, they happened to see some police cars and what have you. And they were by there when that incident, the fire throwing jackass hit Boulder Mall. So they got to see some of the excitement around that. I have a knack of being in the close to where things happen when they go south, like that and Jeffrey Dahmer and some other times I know I've been close to infamy, but fortunately never in the middle of it. My heart goes out to those people. That must have been awful. There was a dog too, I guess, that was injured.
Yeah, when we first heard the reports Sunday night and into Monday, they were saying there was like 5 or 6 people, and the count has increased to 15.
Yeah.
Were injured in this event. 2 severely injured, actually helicoptered to Anschutz, UC Health down in Aurora, which is where I go for my eye, to their burn unit. So it was just a horrific incident. And yes, a dog was involved, although I haven't found any details about the
Me
dog, if
neither.
it was
Yeah.
injured or was it a worse injury than that. I mean, I know that they're primarily reporting on the people, and I understand that, but I would have liked a little bit more information about what
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
happened with the dog. But just senseless tragedy. I have no
Well,
words.
that woman who survived the Holocaust there in liberal Boulder,
Yeah,
gets, yeah.
yeah,
And one thing too, I mean, sometimes surviving horrible burns, I think a lot of people burns are awful,
yeah.
just
It's a
awful
long recovery process. There's
and so
usually
painful.
yep, and skin grafts
Yeah.
are usually
Oh,
involved, and all the. It's just
yeah.
it's a horrible process that these poor folks. These people are going to be reliving this for a very, very long time.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's really unfortunate. Like I said, completely senseless. Telling Auntie Joan that I was considering doing a protest event coming up in the middle of June, and the one I wanted to go to was in Boulder, because I'm like, oh, it's Boulder.
Hmm.
Just throw a
Hmm.
rock. There's a protest every other week there, so it should be fine. And then this incident happened. I'm not super jazzed about doing that at this point. I haven't ruled
Yeah.
it out completely, but I'm not as enthused about it as I once was. So we'll see. Terrible. These folks have been doing this silent march for
Yeah.
600 days, like over 600 days, or sorry, it's related to hostages that have been
Yeah,
that are in
yeah,
Gaza that have been in Gaza for 600 days. They would do this silent march on Pearl Street since the very first Sunday after that
yeah,
after the
yeah,
hostages were taken, and have been doing it weekly since. And it is literally a
yeah.
silent march. The only thing they do at the very end is gather in front of the courthouse, the old Boulder County courthouse, or historic county courthouse, whatever, and read off the names of the hostages, just to remember, keep them in the forefront of everybody's mind.
Flamethrower that he made, concocted
Yeah,
out
just
of
awful.
yeah, yeah. But I thought he had been planning this for a year.
I caught up on some articles today because I hadn't
Oh,
looked
oh,
at it since it all happened, and they were saying that he found out about this online. I assume that meant recently. It didn't say that he found out about thinking about this for the past year. Maybe he has. I only read a few that were only posted like a day ago because I wanted to get what I thought was the latest and greatest information. And since they've been talking about it for almost a week now, I'm sure they were not rehashing every single detail in the ones that I was reading. So thanks for bringing that up, because I would have been happier if
mhm.
he started his own silent march right next to them. It would have been a little rude to do that, but at least it would have been peaceful demonstration versus what he decided to do. And now he's up on federal charges.
Yep. Well, I think I'm too old now for jury duty. So
Is there an
when
age
he,
limit?
I think there used to be. I don't know.
Based on,
But
well, anyway.
anyway, I would get out anyway with my medical conditions. So,
Mm-hmm.
but could you imagine having to sit through that trial?
Seeing all the actual, because we never saw the graphic pictures,
Yeah, yeah.
you
Thank
know.
God.
Right, but during the trial you would have to. No, I have no
Yeah.
interest of having those nightmares. And I'm not in Boulder County anymore, so I don't think
Hmm.
I would get called. But I don't know how that works from like a federal indictment trial or something like that. Like,
Well, I think there's state charges also. I
okay.
think he's got them both. Yeah.
So I'm just curious as to, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Violence is never the answer, folks, as you all know. Our listeners know that.
Our listener does. Yeah. Oh, so then after all this went on, we head back to my house, and Auntie didn't necessarily want to, but was invited to stay over at my place because she needed some car work done
I did
the
want
next
to.
day. So as a thank you, Auntie made dinner, and her dinner was, at my request, those fantastic Reuben sandwiches she made for Memorial Day get together. Words can't say how good those are. Honest to God. And then, not last night, the night before,
Mm-hmm.
I had one more sandwich because you had leftovers you left with me.
Mm-hmm.
So I made one. Delicious. And now I'm going to have the rest of it tonight for dinner.
Nice.
And it's all vegan,
Yeah, yeah.
which
Except for
blows
the
my
Swiss
mind.
cheese. I got you
Oh,
regular
oh
Swiss
yeah, that's
cheese.
right. That's right.
But yeah, it's I'm gonna go back out onto the site. I got it off of Reddit, by the way. The Reuben recipe.
Really?
Not the seitan recipe, but the Reuben marinade and all that.
Mhm.
I got that off of Reddit. I changed it a little bit because they did add some things that are not in a traditional Reuben. But regardless, it's really the marinade and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
followed that one correct, to the letter. I do want to post and let this person know that not only do I love them as a vegan, but
Mhm.
non-vegan friends are just as enthralled with it. I just find it hysterical. I love it. I think it's great. Like I said, it's opened up my ideas to maybe I'll do something barbecue seitan or something for
Oh, yeah.
4th of July or something. So it kind of be like briskety, like a briskety kind of thing. We'll see. We'll see. I was toying with that
Mhm.
idea this morning. So I got some research to do. But anyway, I'm excited that you liked it. So not only
Oh
did
my
you
gosh.
try it when I, brought it to like a
Uh-huh.
potluck kind of thing, you requested it. That's
Absolutely.
that's huge.
Absolutely.
That's huge.
Well, I love Rubens. I love my Rubens. And
Wow.
the Satan,
Hmm.
Satan,
Hmm.
Satan. You're right. The marinade. Well, I don't know what it tastes like without the marinade, but the marinade does so much to it. And the coloring,
Yes.
from the beet juice and
Yes.
that
Yes.
stuff. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I'm excited. Yeah, that's like I said, it's one thing to try it, but it's another thing to actually request it after the fact. And I'm just glad it came out the same way the second time I did it because
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh shoot, I hope I don't screw this up."
Oh yeah, like I would care. The texture too is what's interesting. It's
Yeah.
close to corned beef
Hmm.
without all the fat.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's I mean, you guys, when this recipe gets posted, you ought to give it a try because
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it's so good. And like you said, the marinade, like that vegetable dish that I do,
Hmm. Hmm.
that's all the dressing,
Right. Which, by the way, I'm
And
going to be making when we get off the recording today
oh,
because I have a
wow.
half of a cauliflower that I already cut up. And I just have to cut up the other veggies and make the dressing, and
Yeah.
that's dinner
And the
tonight.
dressing is a piece of cake to make. There's nothing extravagant. There's like maybe five spices or oils that you put
Right.
into it.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I told you guys, if you can all save me your pickle juices going forward for, dill pickles that you buy, then I can just freeze that stuff and have it in the freezer ready to go. Because that's the only thing I don't love about the recipe is, well, one, I told you the beet juice. I couldn't
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
just a jar of beet juice. So I was using from a jar of sliced beets, which you can use. And it's actually the exact amount I need, but I don't eat beets. So I'm
Mhm.
always trying to find somebody to give that away to. So I don't dig that. And then the pickle juice, it's like, well, I don't want to keep emptying jars of the juices from the pickles when I still have pickles in the
Mhm. Mhm.
jars. So I don't want them to dry out kind of thing. So, but if I could start getting ahead of that by other people bringing me their pickle juice, then like I said, I could freeze it, throw it in the freezer, and then I could just thaw it and make it whenever I want.
Have you tried beets in salads?
Disgusting. They taste like dirt to me.
Really?
Absolute dirt. Yes.
Little slivers,
Oh, nope.
Oh, because somewhere
One
I had
time, one
yeah.
one time and one time only, a friend of mine who doesn't live in Colorado anymore made roasted beets, like baby beets or whatever the heck they're called, with some other root vegetables, and I like that, but I don't know what she put into it, and they were really, really small, and they were very caramelized. I love
Mm.
roasted anything pretty much, but I haven't. I tried to replicate it because I was like, I probably should eat beets every now and again. It's good for you, but I could not. All I taste is dirt.
Somewhere within the last 6 weeks, I'd say,
Mm-hmm.
I got a salad from somewhere, and they had those matchstick
Mm-hmm.
beet pieces,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought, oof. But I ate them, and I thought they were actually kind of good.
Maybe they soaked in the dressing long enough to. I don't know. I just don't like them. I try them every now and again just to
Mm.
see if something's changed, but no, it tastes like I'm taking a spoonful of dirt from the ground and eating it. Nasty. And yes, I know what dirt tastes like, kids. You all do. You all had dirt when you were a kid. Let's be fair. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well,
Well, I'm glad you like the Reuben sandwiches. I'm glad they turned out well
oh,
again.
yes.
So, seems like it's a foolproof recipe then because I was able to replicate it twice, make it
Yeah.
once and
Yeah.
do it again. So,
And I was able to make my own. So
yeah,
from your concoctions.
right. Right.
Yeah.
And I was able to find that rye bread again that we both like
Yeah.
from Safeway.
Yeah.
And they had only one loaf. So every time I go, there's always only one loaf. I don't know if I'm the only one buying it.
The goddess is looking out for you.
But I told you I wanted them to have more than one loaf so I can pop at least one or two in the freezer to have another
Oh.
time. So I'm not searching for it when I really want it. So anyway, but that's all right. It's all good.
Well, thank you for that.
Of course. And thank you for enjoying it. I'm glad that that works out.
Oh, absolutely.
Yay.
Yeah.
And as part of our get together slumber party, we decided to watch something together that neither one of us had seen. And it's not a new movie.
Mm-mm.
And it is called Split with James McAvoy. And I didn't really want to see it when it came out. It concerned me. Well, a couple of things concerned me about it. One, it looked like it was going to be scarier than it was. It was more psychological, which I do like. It was an M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong
Oh, yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
And I just... M. Night Shyamalan. To me, he hasn't made a good movie since Sixth Sense.
Yeah, that's disappointing, isn't it?
Always, I go into going, I'm going to like this. And then it falls flat at the end. And I'm just like, ugh.
But The Sixth Sense was so good, though.
So
that
good.
ending was like, whoa.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. So I was kind of leery of that, but we decided we were going to watch because I'd seen him on some talk show recently. He's promoting a different movie, of course, but they brought up Split and just how talented he is to play all these. So what it is a guy has multiple personalities. He has 23 of them, and soon we find out there's actually 24 into the movie. And it's just James McAvoy's acting prowess was definitely exemplified in this movie because he played each character seamlessly, and he would switch between one to the other and it was just, oh my God.
Yeah, he was very good.
Very good. Very disciplined in his craft. So that was good. And so some of the characters or some of the personalities he had was Barry, who was the fashion designer. And that was the one that was actually trying to get their psychiatrist notified that something was going amiss. And then there was Dennis, who was very militant, very OCD. He also likes to watch girls dance naked because he's creepy. And then there's Patricia, where he portrays a woman who likes to keep things very orderly, and she's very sophisticated, but like old school sophisticated, long, dark gowns and dresses and things like that. And she was staging for The Beast, which we'll talk about in a minute. That'll make sense in a minute, I promise. Then there was Hedwig, the 9-year-old boy.
Oh, yes.
And he played that role very, very well. There were a few more that he just kind of sprinkled throughout, but those are the main ones that he was portraying. And then the real person that had all of these personalities, his name was actually Kevin. And we only get to meet Kevin at the very, very end. Then there's Anya Taylor-Joy, who played Casey Cook in the movie. She was the Queen's Gambit woman, if you ever saw the Queen's Gambit, who I actually always thought was Margot Robbie until today when I looked it up. I'm like, how come she's not listed as having the Barbie movie? And I kept looking and looking. I'm like, who the hell was in the Barbie movie? And I'm like, oh, that was Margot Robbie. And I honestly thought Anya Taylor-Joy and Margot Robbie were the same person.
That's okay. They're very similar looking.
They are, right?
Yes.
And this was a young Anya Taylor-Joy, because I actually did not recognize her as the Queen's Gambit chick when we were watching Split. Did you?
It's been a while since I saw Queen's Gambit, so yeah, I just didn't make the connection at all.
So what happens is James McAvoy's character at the very beginning kidnaps 3 young girls. They were getting into the car with one of the girls' fathers, and he has an interaction with the father. I don't know if we never found out if he got killed or just knocked out, or I don't know, but James McAvoy ends up getting in the car and drives away with the 3 girls and takes them to, it was under like an animal sanctuary or a zoo or whatever, but it was like in the depths of like the service areas in there. And that's where James McAvoy's character, Kevin, was living with all these personalities. Then we had Haley Lou Richardson, who played Claire Benoit. And Claire, I thought, or Haley Lou Richardson's character, Claire, I really thought she was like the organizer. Like she was like, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. And Anya Taylor-Joy's character was kind of like, no, you can't do that. 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 Come to find out, that's because Anya Taylor-Joy's character had gone through quite a bit of trauma as a young child, and she had some experience with how you would handle something like if James McAvoy's character was trying to rape them. These are the kinds of things that she unfortunately versed in because she was raped by her uncle. I don't know if it was a real uncle, but they called him uncle. I don't know if that was, anyway, doesn't matter. When she was young, or molested, raped, it's all the same thing. So she knew, like, because at one point James McAvoy's character took the 3rd girl, whose character's name was Marcia, but that was played by Jessica Sula, away from the other 2 girls into a separate room. And as she was leaving, Anya Taylor-Joy was telling her, pee on yourself. You got to pee on yourself. You got to pee on yourself, which she did. And that grossed out the character, the OCD character, because now she's dirty, and brought her back, kind of thing. We're all wondering, like, why don't you know what? Well, I didn't understand that part until they made it clear when they did a flashback and explained that she had been molested as a child. Then we had Betty Buckley as Dr. Fletcher. That was the psychiatrist. That's I keep calling him character. The personality. Barry, the fashion designer, kept trying to reach out to her to in some way give her an idea of what was going on, that things were being planned, different personalities were taking over, because Barry was the primary. He was the neutral kind of party that was kind of keeping all the other personalities at bay, and there was kind of like a coup d'etat going on inside of James McAvoy's character Kevin's head, and these other see, I keep calling characters, personalities started becoming more dominant, and Barry's personality was trying to warn the doctor that this was happening, but he couldn't just come out and say it because the more stronger personalities, Dennis and Patricia, were really monitoring what he was, so he would like send emails, and those other personalities weren't aware, but then he'd go in to see the doctor, and he wasn't very forthcoming with information because the other personalities were listening and they were kind of like hovering or whatever. I don't know how it all works. Oh, and by the way, M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong does have a cameo in it. He has a cameo in most of his movies. Not really a pivotal character.
I missed it. Where was that?
Yeah, he was, I don't know if he was an assistant or whatever. He was with the doctor.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so it's a very creepy movie. It gets worse towards the end because then the 24th personality comes out, and it's called the Beast. It wasn't fascinating to hear more about multiple personalities and what they were talking about how some personalities, 5'3" person, one of their personalities could project as being, 6 feet tall or whatever, and have different strengths, or female versus male personalities can take on different levels of strength. Like I thought that was pretty fascinating. I don't think I knew that about multiple personality disorder before.
And they mentioned too that like one of the personalities was diabetic.
Right.
I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, I don't know either if that is true. Like I didn't know that each personality can have actual different physical traits.
Like glasses,
yes.
Vision, and all kinds of things.
I thought
if that's true, I mean, the brain can do all kinds of weird stuff, can it? Yeah.
And I did not research to find out if there was any truth to that, but I did find it fascinating in the moment.
I think I did, when I first looked it up, I think I did see that it was based on a real person, but I didn't look beyond that. So
okay. Interesting. So these girls get abducted, and of course they're trying to get out, and Anya Taylor-Joy's character kind of helps lead the charge of trying to get the girls out. They all get separated at one point. They get put into separate rooms and things like that. The doctor does catch on that something bad is happening, and she shows up. And again, this is very old. This came out in 2016, so there's going to be spoilers here because you probably have already seen it, but where the doctor, she ends up getting killed herself. The Beast comes to fruition. It's kind of a culmination, and it's really gross. Well, gross meaning that was the most gruesome of the personalities by far.
Oh, yes. Now I just remembered.
Yeah, he eats people. The Beast actually eats. So two of the girls, not Anya Taylor-Joy is the only girl that survives. She does get bitten, but she doesn't die. The other two girls died, and they've got parts of their bodies eaten. It was quite nasty. And same thing with the doctor. The doctor also finds her demise. Oh, and Hedwig plays a key role, that personality, in helping actually, she comes to find out he's in collusion with Dennis and Patricia. Those two personalities, the evil personalities that are kind of trying to get the Beast to come to fruition, because Hedwig doesn't like to be picked on because he's a 9-year-old kid and he doesn't want to be picked on, and the Beast is going to protect him. And then at the end, the doctor, just before she dies, she writes down Kevin's full name and says, shout this name at him. At least I think that's what it said, because I couldn't really read what was on the paper.
I couldn't.
But that's what Anya Taylor-Joy's character does. She yells it at him, kind of like in a very stern voice, like bringing him back to childhood, that his mother's reprimanding him. Kevin takes over the true person comes back to lucidity for just a brief moment and says, you need to kill me. And and tells her where the gun is and like, you need to kill me. And part of her backstory is that she used to go hunting with her dad and her uncle, the one that abused her. So she has hunting skills. So she knew how to use a shotgun. She knew how to load it and all that wonderful stuff. He told her where it was. She found it. And Kevin, the body, does not die at the end. So there's potential for another one, but it's also was out in 2016. So I doubt they're actually going to do another one now that it's 9 years later. But they left that open. But Anya Taylor-Joy's character does escape. It was much better than I thought the movie was going to be.
Me too. Yeah. James McAvoy, I never pictured him doing a role that serious or that involved. I thought he was fantastic. I mean, he didn't overdo it.
No.
You know, when you go to a different personality, I thought he was pretty gosh darn good. I thought, I liked him. Yeah.
I thought you did a great portrayal of a 9-year-old asking an older girl for a kiss. And they did kiss, and at first he wasn't even making contact, and then he did, and they was, of course, making lots of noise because boys don't know how to kiss, and things like that. But I thought he embodied each of the personalities to the fullest. You really believed he was those personalities in the moment. And it's a rare actor that can really take you there to something like that, to that extent.
Yeah, and playing that woman too, Patricia,
yes.
Yeah. Again, not overdone. No. He didn't go super femme or anything. Nope. He just, it was pretty gosh darn good. I didn't particularly enjoy it towards the end of it, when the girls were killed, and I didn't realize how old it was until the very, very ending.
Right. I knew it had been out for a while. I didn't know it was 9 years ago.
I don't remember hearing about it at all. Well, at the very, very ending, what was it? He was talking about some character or something in the diner.
Oh, yes.
What was? Yes. Do you remember that?
I don't remember why they were in that diner.
He said something, and then he gets up and walks away, and then it's Bruce Willis there sitting next to him, and he makes a comment about Mr. Glass, and I thought, boy, Bruce looks good. How long has it been? And then you see
that's when you looked it up
9 years ago. Yeah. So
it's cute to see Bruce Willis make a cameo at the end of that, and in better times for him too. So
growing old ain't for sissies, that's for sure.
That's right.
I'm glad we watched it. Like you said, and I've said, it's better than I expected, which is a plus.
For sure. So we watched it. I don't even know. Was it just on like HBO or something? I don't even know how we watched it.
I thought it was on, I don't know.
Prime? Was it Prime or was it HBO?
I don't remember now.
I don't remember either. Well, let's see what they have on. I have the IMDb right here. Let me just see where it says you can watch it. Max, Prime, and Max or Prime. If you haven't seen it and you were leery about it, it gets, kind of gross at the end. The psychological parts of it I thought were good. And if you just want to see some damn good acting, highly recommend.
That's a 2 thumbs up for us gals.
All right, Auntie Joan, anything else for our listener today?
No, I think there's a storm coming. It's supposed to get heavy rain, it says down here on my computer. So, but that's it.
Batten down the hatches.
Yep.
All right. Well, that wraps it for yet another wonderful Pickled Watermelon Rinds episode. This is Auntie signing off.
And Antie Joan saying bye-bye now.
We thank you for listening. And remember, when life eats away at your core, make pickled watermelon rinds.